Welcome to episode 49 of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames, and thank you so much for your ongoing support and for supporting me in this show. So, to continue showing your support, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen now, or if you're on iTunes, please leave us an incredible review or let us know what you think of the show and who you'd like us to get on. So, the key to success in your career or in your business has always been to find a big problem and find an incredible solution to overcome that problem. This is exactly what my guest on the show today, Ben Walker, has done with his business. So Ben started his career as a banker, but found no fulfillment in that role. He'd always wanted to get into the medical field, and after finally getting an entry-level job in the medical field, began to see some big problems in that industry. These were transcription services or lack of transcription services. So what I mean by that is you often see a lot of doctors or law enforcement professionals have to take notes for things that they're doing, whether that be coroner's reports or doctor's notes about incidents or accidents or police reports. They often don't have time to take notes there and then, so we'll record things via iPhone nowadays, but with a digital recorder. These would need to be transcribed and used in possible court cases or in documentation for their field. So Ben created Transcription Outsourcing as a solution to this massive problem and has had incredible success in doing so. He has grown his business to be a multi-million-dollar business and has helped many law enforcement professionals and medical professionals around the state and around the US. So Ben shares some incredible insights into what's really sparked his journey into starting up into such a different field and how you can overcome some of your biggest problems in your career or in your business. This is such a great interview and I got some incredible insights from Ben. So let's get started on the interview. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames. Not on the show today, I've got a guest who's had a bit of a different career, something that's led him from one path into another, and it's really helped him achieve massive success in his business. I'm talking about Ben Walker. So Ben is the CEO of Transcription Outsourcing. He started off as a banker, but as a banker, he didn't find fulfillment or enjoyment in his career anymore. So as a result, really was passionate about wanting to get into the medical industry. So after obtaining a career in the medical industry, Ben then looked into coming across a big problem in the industry, which was transcription services. And as a result, started his own business. Now, Transcription Outsourcing is a multi-million-dollar business where Ben helps multiple companies throughout the US to achieve high quality and excellent work with his transcription services. So Ben, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I'm really excited to share your journey in such a varied career path. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it.
So Ben, if you could just start off and give my audience a bit of a background to what really sparked your journey into this sort of career path and what were some of your biggest influences on your career growing up?
Paul, I own part of another medical transcription company in Omaha, Nebraska, and I have 3 business partners in that company. We started 10 years ago because we wanted into the healthcare industry and weren't sure how to get there. Okay. And through our research found medical transcription. Doctors used to dictate quite a bit back then, using handheld digital recorders or calling in on an 800 number.
Oh, wow.
3 years into the industry, or into medical transcription, technology changed considerably here in the U.S. in doctors' offices, as I'm sure it has over in Australia too. They point and click and use their computer a lot more than they used to.
Yeah, definitely.
So we started losing clients in the medical industry, and I started researching other industries that also needed transcription services. I came across the legal industry and the law enforcement industry first thing right away, that they needed it probably more than doctors do.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's how I ended up starting my own company and splitting off from the other company I still own part of in Omaha.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And it's funny when you find that problem in an industry and you're able to solve that biggest problem. Obviously, that's when you achieve success in your business. But obviously, like all of us, we've gone through our ups and downs in our business. What would you say would be some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome, whether that be transitioning from your career into a business or generally scaling up your business?
Well, because I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, going into the legal industry, law enforcement, we now work in the academic industry, in the financial industry. learning the lingo and how to talk to those folks was pretty difficult in the beginning because I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And the acronyms and just the different things that happened in their worlds were different than medical, very different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, scaling up was also a challenge because we hadn't done that like before. Before we had a pretty good support service based in Omaha. And as I started growing in Denver, I was, again, on my own trying to figure it out, working long hours. And my employees were working long hours too to help as we scaled and brought on new clients.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing that, Ben. So I know we briefly touched on it before, but for anyone who doesn't know what transcription services are, could you give us a bit of a brief rundown on what they are and how your business solves these biggest issues that some of these organizations or industries have?
So transcription is turning audio or video into text. And we do that for the legal, law enforcement, medical, academic, like I said, so the data can be taken from the text. A lot of it is used in court or in law enforcement prosecution, depositions, research for the academic industry, reporting for the financial industry. It needs to be typed and it needs to be verbatim. So nothing is taken out of context or misunderstood from what was really said.
Yeah.
So it takes a well-trained ear to listen and type exactly as it was said, not inserting anything or missing anything.
Yeah, that's a really valuable point. I think that'd be a big struggle to, you have to type everything, listen to every single word that comes out clearly and accurately rather than, some people would just go, oh, that sounded about that was about right. I'll add that in. When, if, like you said, we're dealing with law enforcement or, medical industries, that could be the result in something quite drastic or quite negatively impacting happening. So.
Oh, for sure. People can be let out of jail if a transcript is done incorrectly.
Yeah.
Change the whole context of what was said in an interview or what was said by an undercover informant. It can change everything.
That's right. Yeah, so true. Something to definitely consider. Yeah. So Ben, I'd love to touch on, we've all got a really positive trait or positive habit that's helped us achieve the success in our life. We've also got a really hindering habit that kind of stops us breaking through that next level in our business or our career. So what would you feel is your biggest positive habit or trait that's helped you achieve the success you're currently feeling? And what would be your most hindering habit?
I'd say that the best one is something I learned. And it was working, and I wouldn't really, it's kind of work ethic, but not really, it's just getting things done and not waiting till the last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
That's also what hindered me the most was I used to be able to fly by the seat of my pants, like I said earlier, and kind of get things done, and things just happened for me. When I was younger, it was easy to get good grades, and I was a pretty good athlete. That just came easy, so I figured it would continue to come easy. But in the real world, or when you're an adult, I guess, that's not the case. Things are not easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it, and everyone would be successful.
Exactly. So true. Yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of that. Like I'm, quite impulsive, fly by the seat of my pants. But I think since having kids and, really getting the business start to grow now, it's, I had to change tact a little bit because, things don't always happen as you want them to happen anymore. And you've got to, adapt and adopt. So great advice there. So Ben, I'd love to touch on some of the previous careers that you've done as well. Obviously, I know we were talking about, you started into the medical industry and before that you're a banker. What do you feel to be some of the biggest takeaways that you've learned from some of those previous careers that you've done?
Well, banking moves very slowly.
Yeah.
Slow and steady. That certainly doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It's also less relationship oriented and more transactional, which that kind of drove me away from what I was doing before was the transactional piece. We never really created relationships that lasted any longer than however we needed to get a deal done. And that's what drove me away because it didn't matter how much our relationship grew. It was whether we had the lowest price and the best deal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were going to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
And now it's more, we may not be priced the lowest, we're not the highest, but they like us, and we have a good reputation. So that carries a lot more weight than it did in the banking industry, at least in my perspective.
Yep. Yeah, so true. That's great point there. So touching on that, what are some of the most exciting things that you're looking forward to or moving forward in your business that are up and coming?
Recently, we were awarded a pretty big contract through NASPO, which stands for National Association of State Procurement Officers.
Awesome.
Or officials, I'm sorry. That is a countrywide pseudo-government agency that 29 companies bid on, and we were one of 6 that were awarded this. So we're trying to take advantage of that and scale again all over the country.
Wow. Massive congrats, Ben. That's awesome, man. What amazing news. And it's so rewarding when something comes through, like you said, out of so many different applicants or tenders that come in and you secure it out of that. I mean, that's incredible. Hats off to you, man.
Thank you. It was fun to win. I'm not going to lie. That was a good day.
I bet it was. So, Ben, I got a bit of a random question I like to throw at all of my guests that come on the show. It's called the miracle question. Obviously, with my own business being in career counseling and helping people with their career documentation. So it's a style of therapy called solution-focused therapy. So imagine if you went to sleep tonight and overnight a miracle had occurred. When you woke up the next morning, everything you ever wanted to impact or anyone you wanted to impact in the world had come true. There were no financial roadblocks, no mental roadblocks holding you back. What would be the biggest impact you'd want to make on the world, and why would it be so important to you?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. And I'm sure it's probably very similar over in your part of the world, but the polarization between left and right seems really bad.
Yep.
And no one gets along in my way or the highway. And you're dumb because you think that. And there's no middle ground or compromise. And I think that if that were to go away, everyone would be a lot happier.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so divisive. And it's all negativity. Everything you see on the news is negative. And this guy did this and this lady did this. And no one likes each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's such a detrimental thing, and to be able to change that would make such a massive impact in the world. Like, a lot of I've had some similar answers to that, and I think, it's going to, changing people's mindsets would definitely make a big impact and a difference to the world. So thanks for that response, Ben. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So Ben, I'd just love to touch on, obviously my podcast is tailored to a lot of people in their career, whether they're miserable in their career looking to move into a new opportunity or if they're looking to start a business. So what do you feel would be 3 to 5 actionable tips that you feel have helped you, especially with the transition phase from your career to a business, that have really helped you transition and work through that transition effectively?
I think in this, we did not plan this answer, so I'm just going to say this, that what you do in being a career coach is probably the number one thing that I have now. I have a coach here in Denver that has helped me more than anything that I've ever done throughout my business, is having a coach, a sounding board, and some other folks that he coaches to speak with. Because we all have these things going on, and it's lonely at the top.
Definitely.
You don't have a lot of people to talk to, especially when you're small and you're kind of working through things. You can't go talk to your employees about decisions to make that could benefit the company or really hurt the company, because they may not know all the information. So talking to a coach who's been there, done that, who has their own company and been through similar problems, that's been a huge help. I wish I'd done it earlier. I've had a coach now for 3.5 years about.
Awesome.
I wish I'd done it 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's great advice too, Ben. I couldn't agree more. Like, I've found that having that outside perspective or that third person who's not always directly involved in your life and your personal, they don't get involved personally, they just act from what they see and the logical choices you should be making in your business, is such a powerful thing to have. somebody who can really kick your ass into gear when it needs it, and to really help you out and move forward into strategic directions for your business or in your career. I think that's powerful advice.
Yeah, exactly. It's been an enormous help.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. No, I was just, so I feel that's been a great tip. Is there anything else that you feel that, like, with the transition phase you really struggled with, like whether, you had your limiting beliefs or your thoughts that were going, this is going to be such a drastic change, jumping from banking into a new industry completely, which was in the medical field. Did you feel like you had any of those thoughts or, roadblocks holding you back?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. Because I didn't know anything. I would go into meetings with different medical facilities and I would just nod my head and say, yes, we can do that. And I literally didn't know what they were talking about. I would write it down when I got out to my car and then Google all of it to make sure I figured it out.
Nice.
Knew what they were asking.
Yeah.
It's jumping head first. So first I would say having a coach and then jumping head first into whatever it is and learning it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I've had friends that have gone into commercial real estate or into banking, and that's what I tell them is learn everything as quickly as possible. Go to every seminar, go to every conference, read every book, be on every conference call with your boss, learn everything.
Yeah.
So know what you're talking about. And your clients or coworkers or employees know that you know. You need to know everything about your industry inside and out.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I love that you said that you went out to the car and went onto Google and started researching. I think that's the power of what we can access nowadays. Like how you were touching on it before, the different advances in technology and how far everything's come. I mean, I've had times like where, for example, just around the house, I've gone, I don't know how to fix a tap or do things like that. So you jump on Google and you go, or YouTube, and just go, wow, that was easy. That was pretty simple and straightforward to be able to learn that skill. So yeah, it's a great tool to use at your at your beckoning now. So
I just figured everyone did that. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. So Ben, if somebody wanted to reach out for your incredible business and incredible services that you offer, I know you do to a lot of big organizations and that, but I know transcription services are quite high in the podcast field as well. So I'm not too sure if you specialize in that as well, but if that was something you wanted, I know some pretty big people who would be interested in your services as well. So where would be the best place to reach out to you if anybody was looking for some high quality, amazing transcription services?
First, start with our website at transcriptionoutsourcing.net. So www.transcriptionoutsourcing.net. I can also be found on LinkedIn at Ben K. Walker and Twitter at Benjamin K. Walker. Or you can call our office anytime at 720-287-3710, and that's obviously in the U.S. And yes, we do transcribe for a couple different podcasts now. I know that they're using them for different purposes, but yeah, we do podcast transcription also. We've done pretty much any kind of transcription you can imagine.
Awesome.
Really weird to standard, boring depositions for lawyers.
Yep. Definitely. And saying that, which ones do you feel are the most exciting for you? Which ones are the best ones that you've had to work with? I can imagine law enforcement and the medical industry be quite interesting. Some of the stuff that you hear some of the doctors and police talk about.
Yeah, for sure. The medical industry in the emergency room is insanely fascinating. It's
definitely
unbelievable what people do to themselves or do to others on accident or on purpose. It's crazy. If you ever meet an ER doc, just ask him to tell you stories and you will be blown away.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, like I know I've got a few friends who are police as well, and some of the stuff you hear come out of them, and you're just like, oh wow, it's pretty full on. So yeah, I'm sure it'd be quite an entertaining field to be in as well to be able to hear all that stuff come through. So, but Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure being able to share your amazing journey and your amazing story. And I think for me, I see it a lot in my business. There's a lot of people like what you were just talking about before. are so afraid of making that transition into a whole new career or a whole new business idea. And I found that, what you've said is sometimes you've just got to learn as much as you can, try and get yourself up to speed, and then just take the jump. You don't always have to make such a big drastic leap into it. Like for my business, I'm still working full time and transitioning into my business. It is picking up a lot now, and hopefully within this year I'll be able to transition into it full time. But I think for a lot of people, they're afraid to make that leap. And like, if you take on board Ben's advice, that's really going to help you out in your career.
You'd also be surprised what human beings are capable of when your back's against the wall and it counts and you've got to step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Things they're not sure they can do or didn't think they could do. They can do it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. I think when you know that, like, I think that's doing it the way I've done it is kind of good and bad. I feel like it's been good because I've had that support from the full-time job, but I also feel that, it's not always pushed me that hard to this is your income. This is what you need to make for your business. You need to make this work. So there's the good and bad for both ways of doing it, I think. So, but yeah, thanks again for sharing all that, Ben. That was amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, Paul, and I want to make sure you don't think that I'm saying don't do it like you're doing, because it's
no.
Well, at some point you'll hit a bump in the road that may be big or it may be small, but you might lose a big client and you're on your own and you don't have that backup income from your full-time job, and then you've got to recover from that.
Definitely.
You can do it. Anyone can.
Yep.
It's survival. You want to survive and move on and keep food on the table and a roof over your head. So yeah, you'll get through it. It sucks at that time, but you'll get through it.
Yeah, that's true. So Ben, just getting ready to wrap up soon, but what would be some of the best parting advice that you feel that you've learned, whether that be in your career or in your business, and how you feel that could really benefit the audience?
Learning from others who've been there before you, such as a coach or reading. There are tons of great books out there that have been written by people that have been extremely successful in a lot of different areas. And that could be making lots of money or building huge companies or affecting people all over the world, not making any money.
Yeah.
It's learning from others that have been there before you.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, it's so powerful as well. I mean, I've adopted that quite heavily of recent, and it's really making a massive difference in my business. And I was even just talking to my wife about business yesterday and just saying it's funny, like she's had her own successful business for 11 years as well. And it's funny, the lessons that you learn and the things that you learn as different things come along, you just have to adapt and go, okay, well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm just going to do it this way. But by, as you said, learning from the people who've been there and done that, you can often fast track all of these things that you have to go through yourself. And try and avoid what they've done to, scale you up to the next level a lot quicker.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Perfect. Well, Ben, as I said, thank you so much again for your time. It's been amazing to talk to you and, to gain a real in-depth perspective into what you do and how important transcription services are and, the definite need for them and, like some of the interesting stories that have come out of it. So thanks again, Ben. It's been amazing sharing your journey.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it.
And guys, stay tuned next week where we've got another incredible guest on the show who's really going to help you break through that glass ceiling in your career. So stay tuned then.